Yo, what is up, guys? It is Nick, or the Notorious Fantasy, back again today with another fantasy football video. Today's video is Week 5 wide receiver start or sit decisions. I go through every single game and talk about the notable wide receivers in every single game. Should you start them or should you sit them? Now, before we get into the video, I'd like to give you guys a word from my sponsor, OverlayDFS.com. I love playing on this website. I play on it every single week. You guys should come join me, so play the role now. Tired of having to pick the perfect player at every single position in order to win at salary cap DFS? Are you tired of having your salary cap lineup out of the running to win money in the first 5 minutes? Does playing salary cap DFS feel like a job and not even a game? Want a fantasy game where pros with 150 lineups and computer generated games can't dominate? OverlayDFS.com has a new revolutionary start-sit game for fantasy sports. They are the home of the single-entry GPP. How do you play? It is a simple start-sit format. Make 12 start-sit decisions from the 30-plus matchup presented, like you can see on my screen right now. A winner, win, loss, or tie will be awarded to your overall record for each decision. Records of the top 10% of users win 9 times your buy-in. 12-0 records win GTD progressive bonus. All matchups are player versus player. Who will have the most fantasy points? Usually, an 8-4 record is good enough to get that cash. Sometimes 7-5, other times 9-3, depending on the week. Make 12 picks on the matchup options listed. For example, in Week 5, it could be Cooper Kupp versus Todd Gurley, Adam Thielen versus Stephon Diggs, Carson Wentz versus Tom Brady, and many, many more. The object is to stay consistent and finish in the top 10% of the field to win 9 times your buy-in until the stars align and you go that beautiful 12-0. Right now, if you go the perfect 12-0 in the $109 game, you'd win the progressive bonus of over 26 big ones, $26,000. They have buy-ins at all levels. If no one hits that perfect 12-0, the progressive bonus keeps growing and will roll over until it gets hit. It's like the super contest, but for DFS. Do not get shut out. Visit www.overlaydfs.com today. And we are Week 5 wide receiver start or sits. Let's get right into it. Rams at Seahawks, the Thursday night football game. This is pretty easy to me. You're going to be starting Cooper Kupp, Brandon Cooks, and Robert Woods of the LA Rams. Last week, they all produced a decent amount. It seems like Jared Goff likes Cooper Kupp the most. In my opinion, he seems to be getting the most targets, getting the most looks. Now, Robert Woods looked terrible the first 3 weeks, pretty much aside from Week 1. But Week 4, he had his redemption arc, his redemption game, and I think he should be good to go this week against Seattle. Now, Tyler Lockett for Seattle, to me, is also a start. Now, I know he has been disappointing somewhat recently, but I think that he should be fine against the Rams. We saw how Tampa Bay played against the Rams last week, and Russell Wilson's obviously a better quarterback than Jameis, and it should be a pretty good game for Lockett. Now, DK Metcalf gets the eh. He's get the because I don't really love him this week against the Rams. The Rams do have a pretty good defense at the end of the day, but I do still think that Lockett will be able to get it done. I'm just not too sure about Metcalf. Unless you're in a super deep league, I don't love Metcalf this week. Next game here is the Jets at the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, I like Alshon Jeffrey this week for the Eagles, so he is clearly a start for me. He's pretty much the only wide receiver out there. Deshaun Jackson, who knows if he'll be back for this week or not. If he's back, maybe you might want to start him. Robbie Anderson and Jamison Crowder of the Jets are also starts, but that's only if Sam Darnold plays. If Luke Falk is out there, which is likely what's going to happen, Robbie Anderson and Jamison Crowder are clear sits. To me, I don't want anything to do with the Jets unless Sammy Darnold, the mono man, is out there on the field throwing some touchdowns. We're going to be sitting down Nelson Aguilar. Now, I know last week I told you to start him. He put up that fat goose egg in your lineup. But this week, we're not letting Nelson Aguilar fool us again. Benching him. It doesn't seem like Carson Wentz likes throwing the ball his way when Alshon is healthy. Next game to talk about here is the Jaguars at the Carolina Panthers. Now, we're going to be starting up Baby Shark. DJ Shark, Jaguars wide receiver, seems to be Gardner Minshew. Minshew walks favorite target. Now, Gardner Minshew has been playing great. 69.420 completion percentage. Very nice. DJ Chark is his favorite option, like I said. Against the Panthers defense that seems like it could be somewhat exploited, DJ Chark may be able to hop in that end zone, score you those points. In a PPR league, he's going to be seeing a bunch of targets, so he's definitely a good start here. Now, DJ Moore and Curtis Samuel are also starts. Will one of them have to face Jalen Ramsey? Maybe. Will Jalen Ramsey get traded in the middle of the week? Maybe. Whoever he is guarding is obviously going to have a worse game. That is something you're going to have to worry about. But I still think right now, Jalen Ramsey, I'm not sure if he's going to play. DJ Moore and Curtis Samuel are starts. It seems like they can both get it done with Kyle Allen. Now you're going to be sitting down D.D. Westbrook and Chris Connolly. Now I know D.D. Westbrook, if you're in a super deep league, I would be willing to start. It seems like Gardner Minshew is somewhat targeting him, but I don't want anything to do with him really in a normal type of league. Chris Connolly as well, don't really want anything to do with him. DJ Shark is really the only wide receiver I like starting on the Jaguars. Next game to talk about here is the Vikings at the New York Football Giants. Now we're going to be starting up Adam Thielen for the Vikings. Now I know Kirk Cousins has looked terrible. But this week, Kirk Cousins is facing a terrible defense. All right, he needs to be able to figure it out. He needs to be able to figure out. He needs to be able to throw the ball to Adam Thielen. It seems like he doesn't even like Stephon Diggs. Adam Thielen talked shit on him, told the media that their quarterback just sucks pretty much. He said that they need to be throwing the ball. The ball needs to come to him. The ball's not coming to him. But in reality, he's the only one getting the goddamn ball. Stephon Diggs seems to be not involved at all, and that's why Stephon Diggs is a sit. Now for the Giants, I'm only starting Sterling Shepard. Sterling Shepard right now is the only good wide receiver on the team besides Evan Ingram, but Evan Ingram's a tight end. Obviously, Golden Tate is coming back next week, so maybe you could start Golden Tate next week, but I think they're in a hard matchup, so probably not. But this week, Sterling Shepard is the only go, because the rest of the Giants team, like it says on the screen, sit. Giants, JV, wide receiver core, they're all terrible. They wouldn't even make varsity on the football team. Obviously, they would. They're way better than the fucking high schoolers, but you get what I'm saying. Next game, here's the Falcons at the Houston Texans. Now, you're going to be starting up Julio Jones. Julio Jones is an every week start, and so is DeAndre Hopkins. Now, I know DeAndre Hopkins has not been playing all that good. He has not lived up to that expectation. But I think against an Atlanta defense that the Tennessee Titans absolutely eviscerated last week, I think D-Hop should be able to get it done. Now, we are also going to be starting Mohamed Sanu of the Falcons. It seems like he's the most consistent one of them all besides Julio. Obviously, Mohamed Sanu is always out there catching passes, getting looks from Matty Ice. Now we're going to be sitting down Calvin Ridley because it doesn't seem like Matt Ryan loves targeting him all that much. Like I said, I think a lot of those targets are just going to go to Mohamed Sanu, so I'm not really too comfortable starting Calvin Ridley this week. Now on the Texans, the other wide receivers, Will Fuller, don't really want to start him. Kenny Stills, don't really want to start him. Will Fuller has not lived up to expectations at all this season, but somehow he's still alive. He hasn't broken his leg yet. We're in week 5. That's like amazing for Will Fuller. So maybe he's having a great season because his legs still work. You know, that's a plus. Buccaneers at the New Orleans Saints is the next game here, and it says sit, but these are obviously start. You're going to be starting Chris Godwin and Mike Evans for the Buccaneers. They're just great. Chris Godwin is amazing. Mike Evans is amazing. Chris Godwin last week tore apart the Rams defense. Mike Evans still looked good, hopped in the end zone, scored a decent amount of points. I think that every week it may be a different wide receiver scoring the most points. I don't think it'll ever be like where they both get 20 points. I think it's either going to be Godwin scoring 30 or Evans scoring 30 and the other one being around the 10-15 range. But that's fine with me against the Saints defense that looked pretty good against Dallas, but Dallas maybe not so good. They really weren't playing any good teams until they played the Saints. But I think Chris Godwin and Mike Evans will be able to get it done, and Famous Jameis may be able to eat a W in New Orleans. Now, I'm also going to be starting up Michael Thomas. Now, I know Michael Thomas and Teddy B don't have the best connection, but what I do know is that he's the best wide receiver on the field. He's going to be getting targets from Teddy Bridgewater, and I like Michael Thomas this week. It's near impossible to bench him in fantasy. Bills at Titans. Now, you're going to be sitting everyone in this game. Corey Davis and A.J. Brown for the Titans. I know people are picking up A.J. Brown. I mean, you could potentially start him if you're in a super deep league, but even then, I don't want anything to do with that. 3 targets, 2 touchdowns, 3 receptions, 100+ yards. Like, that's not going to happen ever fucking again. Corey Davis is a sorry-ass wide receiver. He's always going to be the sit. John Brown, Cole Beasley with Matt Barkley instead of Josh Allen's likely not going to play. Don't really want anything to do with them. Cole Beasley may be the expectation because he's just a slot guy. He's just always open. But even then, I don't really want to start him against a Titans defense that seems to be locked down. Next game here is the Cardinals at the Cincinnati Bengals, and we're going to be starting up Larry Fitz, old man Larry Fitz, in this game. The Bengals defense looks putrid. The Cardinals defense looks putrid. It could be a very high-scoring game here in Cincinnati. I think Larry Fitz gets it done. Christian Kirk seems to be leaning towards doubtful, leaning towards out, so I don't really want to start him this week. That's why he's a sit. Now, on the Bengals side of the ball, Tyler, Boyd is a clear start here. He looked pretty good last week, even though they fucking were terrible. Tyler Boyd still played okay. Auden Tate. Now, this guy, you may not have heard of him. Is he related to Golden Tate? I'm not entirely sure. But Auden Tate looked great last week. He's been getting a lot of targets. He was a waiver wire pickup. In my opinion, he was a waiver wire pickup. He looked pretty solid. I like Auden Tate this week going up against the Cardinals and their terrible defense. Now, the thing is that you just have to hope that both of them do good. I think that Tyler Boyd obviously has the way higher ceiling. He could do way better, but I think Auden Tate is going to get involved. Now, this is only because John Ross is out. If John Ross was in, I would have no confidence in Auden Tate at all, but I think that this is such a good matchup that you're going to have to start both of them, especially Auden Tate in a deeper league. He's definitely someone that may still even be available on your waiver wire. Now, the next guy to talk about here, or the next game, I should say, is the Patriots at the Washington Redskins. Now, we're going to be starting up the whole Patriots squad: Julian Edelman, Philip Dorsett, and Flash Gordon, savior of the universe. Now, Julian Edelman and Flash Gordon and Philip Dorsett really haven't had that. Last week didn't really put up a good game, but that was because the Bills' defense looked good. The Redskins' defense is a sieve. The Redskins' defense is terrible. I'm pretty sure you could put me in pads, like I said last week against the Dolphins. Strap me in there. Let me be the running back, Bill Belichick, and I'll run better than Sony Michel's sorry ass. Julian Edelman, Philip Dorsett, Flash Gordon all starts this week. Terry McLaurin, Scary Terry, if healthy, if healthy, I am going to start him up against the Patriots defense. I feel like he should still be able to get it done. Now, reports came out just recently that Case Keenum is in a walking boot. He's doing his best Big Ben impression. It may be the Dwayne Haskins show, likely the Dwayne Haskins show. I think Terry McLaurin, Scary Terry, can still get it done against a good, probably one of the best defenses in the league. He was able to get it done against the Bears. I'm sure he can get it done against the New England Patriots. Next game here is the Ravens at the Steelers AFC North matchup. We're going to be starting up Hollywood Brown for the Ravens. Hollywood Cole. You know what I'm saying out here. The Ravens they did not look that good last week, but I think that they could have a bounce back against the Steelers that look pretty. I mean, they beat the fucking Bengals. They're really not all that good. Juju, very scared about starting him, but you have to start him because you know his talent. Mason Rudolph just hasn't really been looking his way. Deontay Johnson is also a start. The Ravens defense didn't look all that good last week. Obviously, they're still pretty good, but they're not your old Ravens defense that you would think about in years past. The purple that they wear on their jersey, you're just looking at it and you're like, God damn, that's the Ravens. They're going to be so good at defense. In reality, not as good as they used to be. Deontay Johnson is an okay start, definitely in a deeper league. Now we got the Bears at the Oakland Raiders. You're going to be starting up A-Rob in this game. Allen Robinson hasn't really been producing all that well, but the Raiders defense is terrible. Jacoby Brissett, Jacoby B had a pretty good game against them. Now they do have Chase Daniel starting at quarterback for the Bears. It's looking like kissing titties. Trubisky will not be able to kiss any titties during the game. Well, he may be able to because he's on the sideline, on the bench with his fucking hat on or whatever. Al Robinson's okay. Taylor Gabriel in a super deep league, I'd be willing to start. And then Tyrell Williams got to the mark because he's playing up against the Bears defense that seems to be pretty good. But Tyrell Williams always finds a way to hop in that end zone, so I'm still willing to start him. Next game, here's the Denver Broncos at the LA Superchargers. We're going to be starting up Courtland Sutton. Courtland Sutton is one of those guys that I didn't even think he would be good this season, if I'm being honest with you. It seems like too many cooks in the kitchen in the Broncos, and it seems like Joe Flacco would not be able to sustain a top-tier wide receiver. Boy, was I wrong. Courtland Sutton is looking great out there, getting a lot of fantasy points. It seems like Joe Flacco's favorite target. I like Courtland Sutton this week against the Superchargers. Now, Emmanuel Sanders gets the because I really thought he was going to be the wide receiver one on the team. It seems like Courtland Sutton has taken that over, at least for fantasy, but Emmanuel Sanders is okay in a deeper type of league. Keenan Allen is an obvious start every single week when he's healthy. When he's all good, he's going to be running those routes that are looking beautiful. He should be fine against a Broncos defense that really ain't all that good. Next game here is the Packers at the Dallas Cowboys. Now, Devontae Adams is going to be out in this game, likely. I'm like 100% sure he's going to be out. So you're going to be starting up Geronimo Allison. Geronimo has looked okay so far in the season, but without Devontae Adams, Geronimo Allison and MVS, Marquez Valdes-Scantling, also a start, are going to be involved. Now for the Cowboys, Amari Cooper is an obvious start. Amari Cooper seems like every week he's just balling out of control. He's fucking all of them hoes. You know what I'm saying? I think that's a Drake lyric right there. But Amari Cooper is looking great. He has been playing pretty good. I like him this week against the Packers. Now, the Packers do have a pretty good defense, but I'm not too worried. I think Dak should have a bounce-back game after last week in New Orleans. And we're going to be sitting down Michael Gallup. Now, I know. It may look like Michael Gallup may play even if he plays. I'm kind of nervous against the Packers defense. Next game here, we have the Colts at the Chiefs, the Sunday night football game, one of the better games of the day. The Colts at the Chiefs. You're going to be starting up Ty if he's healthy. If he's not healthy, you let him ride the pine. Sammy Watkins is a start against the Colts. The Colts defense doesn't look all that good. Sammy Watkins should be good. I mean, he's probably not going to be a top 10 receiver because we haven't seen that out of Sammy Watkins since week 1, but he's still a start for me. McCall Hardman gets the because he disappointed last week. Really didn't see that many targets. Demarcus Robinson seems to be the better start of Hardman and Robinson. Robinson seems to be the guy that's getting more involved. You're going to be sitting Tyreek Hill. He's likely going to be out. He's doubtful right now. And even if he's playing, I'm likely just going to sit him down. Final game here, Monday Night Football, Browns at the San Francisco 49ers. Now we're going to be starting up Odell Beckham Jr., OBJ. He should be pretty good against the 49ers. If Jarvis Landry is gone, it's going to be the OBJ and Nick Chubb show. Now, Jarvis Landry does have a concussion, his first concussion of his NFL career. If he's healthy, I would be playing him against the 49ers. You'll be sitting down all the 49ers receivers, Deebo Samuel, Dante Pettis, Markisson, Titties, Goodwin, all those guys, sit them down. So thank you guys all for watching. If at any point in this video you ended up enjoying, you ended up chuckling, you ended up knocking one time, if you're with me, knock on that goddamn subscribe button, click it a bunch of times until it says that you've subscribed to the channel. You are not going to regret it, just like you're not going to regret checking out overlaydfs.com. Link down in the description. I love you all. Good boy.